I just said, man, we gonna do something. We doing something real different this week, man. I feel like now we about to get into the bag of what I wanted the pit to really be, and that's having this platform for casual fans to really, really just get their opinions off in a safe space, have some dope ass dialogue on a lot of issues that's rooted in sports. Sports brings everybody together. It brings everybody together, man. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure that we have a family type of vibe going on. You understand what I'm saying? And having some real ass dialogue without the disrespect, and just allowing people to just, hey, let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. Yo, how everybody sound? Like, how everybody doing, man? Vino, how you feel, man? You good, man? Can you hear me? You good?
I hear you. I'm coming through good.
Yeah. You sound real good.
For sure. Yeah, no, everything's solid.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you real good.
Yeah, man. So I reached out to these young guys, not young guys. These men. I reached out to these.
I reached out to these.
Yeah, no doubt. I reached out to these men, man, because I saw them having some spirited dialogue in the pit. And this can be you if you tuned in, man, if you really want to get down up there. This is what the pit is about. You know what I mean? But I saw these guys having some dope dialogue in the pit, man, just on the criticism of athletes. Vino feels one way, Dave feels one way. A lot of people, relate to how you both feel. You know what I mean? A lot of people relate to how you both feel. So I want to really bring it to you, Dave, first, because I know you've been highly boisterous about how we talk about our black athletes. I don't want you to be I don't want people to misconstrue your thought process behind this, because me and you actually had this conversation before, and I was like, you know what, I didn't think about that. So I kind of want you to let everybody know where you come from when you say the things that you say.
Well, the thing about it is, when you talk about racism and sports, there's always a racist factor in sports, period. And as you know, as we all know, sports actually plays a really significant role in bringing people together, breaking down racism. When you look at, isn't it always racism? How do you judge racism? What is racism? How do you look and then say, well, this person is black. Is it racist? Well, racism comes from the form of, being treated unfairly, discriminatory, disrespectful, bias. And if you, as a black person, treat a black athlete like that day in, day out, you are practicing racism. Now, at the same time, when you're talking about how how the media treat different athletes from different sports, you tell me what other sports outside of basketball and football where they talk about the athletes this way. Do they talk about them like that in golf? We're talking about on TV. We're not talking about in the stadium when or in the basement or in the bar when people are boisterous. We're talking about the media. Either CBS, ESPN, wherever, social media. Do you see them talking about golfer that way? Soccer players that way? Do you see them talking about hockey players that way? Baseball players, sports that are not dominated by black athletes. You only see that primarily when it comes to basketball and football. And that's where you have the discrimination. And if you cannot apply the same principle to a white athlete as you do a black athlete, then you are engaging in discriminatory practices. Discriminatory practices that can actually be detrimental to that player's ability to earn a living, a honest living, to maximize their value. So when you come to me and talk to me about generational wealth, you can't talk to me about generational wealth if you can't respect the earning potential of each athlete and why they're there. The words that we use, you talked a little bit earlier about the platform. It's really different than when you're in your basement with your homie talking stuff. This thing where we're talking about Facebook and how Facebook is used, it's not just used to just dialogue. That everything we say is harvested, purchased, and come back to us in the form of advertising. It's moving dollars. It's actually, how a player is popular or not popular can dictate if a team decides to keep them or not, because that player is going to is representing the franchise, especially when you're talking about a football player, a quarterback. Remember now in the past, it wasn't easy for black quarterbacks to get in the league because they're the face of the franchise. They've been the warning. Social media and various different things, the game changing, have changed that a lot. So when you get up and I'm not talking about basic criticism.
Right.
I'm talking when you use unjust stats that is very similar to, let's say, we could talk about the two people now. Let's talk about two people, Lamar Jackson and Kirk Cousins. If you can't use the same stat to talk about each one of them, you're engaging in discriminatory practices. No different than if I go to my job and you treat me unfairly because I'm black. You write me up everything for every little thing I do, but my white counterpart is not. We are engaging in the same thing when we talk about athletes. And if you can't talk about them and be intellectually honest, you're engaging in discriminatory practices and you're damaging a brand. You're damaging the person's ability to make an income. But not only that, you guys don't think about it just that. You think about this platform, but like I said, it's bigger than just your basement. Facebook is not your basement. Okay, Facebook is used to change elections. The 2016 election, was it 2016 that Trump won? They used Facebook to shape the dialogue, to change the opinion, to target them. This data is more powerful than what we think it is. And we're doing really disservice to the athletes themselves, but also you have to think about the trickle-down factor. You got to think about your kid, the various different people that will be reading Facebook, will be looking at Facebook, that might like Lamar. And when you attack that Lamar, you, in a way, you sending a negative signal to that kid. That could be your cousin that have aspirations to be a quarterback. So he plays a certain way. He plays a mistake. Kids don't understand that stuff. You know, there's a difference in critiquing. There's a difference in demonizing when you start using words like garbage, trash. Those things mean a lot. Then guess what? That's amplified up to Stephen A. You know, Stephen A., you think they're not buying this data? You think they're not buying it and repeating the same stuff that we're saying? That's how you gauge. That's how you market. That's how they drive their dollars. But you can drive the dollars at the expense of yourself and our ability to grow. Our Trojan horse that's there, we could be damaging them. And I think that's what we're doing when we engage in unfair criticism. Basically, in my opinion, some of them are outright lies. You see what I'm saying? But also the constant attack every day. That's the problem. And when they do something good, you're quiet. This is not the basement, man. This is a powerful tool that it's not used to really enhance black.
Yeah, I'm about to say uplift.
Used to it's so many different things that we got to be careful. I'm going to let Vino chime in now, so I don't want to sit here and just monologue.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really, you know, when you talk about discrimination, it's the unfair practices. Racism is unfair practice. And if a black person do it to a black person day in, day out, then you're engaging in that racist aspect, and you're engaging in haterism at the same time. But go ahead, Vino. My bad for, you know.
Yeah, you long when it is all love. That's what it's for, though. It's what it's for, though. Your world, Vino. Hold on, Vino. Hold on. On mute. Go ahead, Vino. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Just come back in. Dave, you good?
Yeah,
I heard you right there, Vino. Go ahead.
Can you hear?
Nah, I can't. We can't hear you, V. I thought I heard him, but no. Well, just log out and come back in, Vino. It's all love. But Dave, you good, right?
Yeah, man. And so
when Vino come back, we'll get him in. I want to touch on one of the things that because I talk about this all the time, and that's brand, right? That's brand. I 100% am on your team when you talk about the damaging of an athlete's brand. I, like I feel like criticizing an athlete from a from an athletic standpoint, and let's be honest, when we're talking sports, right? 90, I guess we can say 90% of an athlete's brand is his athleticism, is his, it is what he does in said sport. Um, but when you do it to damage an athlete's brand, I do feel like that's a entirely different scenario because now you're you're fucking with my money. Let's be honest. Like, you messing with my next contract. You messing with my jersey sales. You messing with how fans view me. I think we got Vino back. Hopefully we good. Hopefully are we good now, Vino?
Yo, I hear you good.
Yeah,
You hear me?
yeah, we good now. Yeah, go with it,
Okay.
Vino.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Vino. Go
no,
ahead.
you
Vino.
go ahead because you was in the middle of. Go ahead, and
But I was just one of the things I definitely want to talk to Dave about was just the impact of said words on an athlete's brand. I definitely think that's a big thing. I definitely think that's a factor that we don't talk about enough. When you and I'm not talking about criticizing athlete's skill set. Again, I want to stress that I'm not talking about criticizing an athlete's skill set, but to me, it's when it goes outside of the lines. For me, when it goes outside of the lines, when you're projecting all of these lies, like Dave said, onto an athlete, to me, that's a different ball game. But Vino, I definitely want you to chime in on the criticism of athletes and everything that Dave said. I want you to go ahead and rock the mic. You're good.
We good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. So, like over the last couple of days, we've been everybody been going back and forth about their views about the racism and I want to lead off with just I think the pit, people go in there to just talk about sports and they literally not think about race at all. And I say that in a light of we got when Andy Dalton suck on Sundays for the Bears, we don't like it and we talk about it in there. When whoever, I don't know, people brought up and they like their sports teams, and that's who they root for, who they don't root against. I was having conversations earlier, and even to your point of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson just so happened to go to a team that I don't really care for because historically I haven't liked the Ravens. So therefore, I said on the post that I don't really even comment about. I don't personally comment about nothing really in there because it's too much argument. But that's beside the point. Racism in sports, I'm not really a fan of the conversation because of the where we at in it now, where the salary's based off of Pat Mahomes, who's a black guy. Quarterbacks, that's who they get everybody's money's judged off of his. And we got several black quarterbacks who are not on the same level as him getting paid because they do their job well enough. Lamar Jackson being one of them who's coming up in contracts, who they judging what he do and what he's done. They're gonna base his salary off of Pat Mahomes. And while I think, and we've talked about that, I don't think Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but that's what it's getting based off of, a black guy. So I don't know. I'll leave the race out of it because while there's definitely racism everywhere and it's racism played in the NFL at every position. And even I would even say still heavily at the quarterback position, there's a level of racism because there's racism everywhere. The bigger point is to make money. And whoever at the helm don't matter. Because this ain't 1990 when Warren Moon was trying to get into the league, when they didn't want a black guy as the face of an organization. Today, they want who can win the game and make them the best dollar. Whoever jersey they can sell the most. That matters more than keeping the black man out of a position. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I'm not a big fan of the race card being played in these sports. When I talk about somebody, I'm talking about what they are doing only. And I watch the game like everybody else watched the game, and I come up with my own conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
You see it through your lens. I see it through mine. I mean, I think rightfully so, they're probably different.
I think and Dave, this can be brought towards you. Again, you're very critical of the critique of African American athletes from other African Americans. I kind of want you to hop on that.
All right, yeah, this is how I look at it, right? Anytime these guys talk about it, you just talk about money and earning potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really and truly, as you know, it's very difficult to get into the league.
Right.
Extremely difficult to get into the league. Not
Right.
only is it difficult to get into the league, it's hard to stay into the league. It's even harder to stay into the league. Now,
Correct.
when you have these conversations, it's always about who is the greatest, who is the best,
Mm-hmm.
right? And who is better than. But I don't mind that conversation. But when you use unfair criticism, when you use stuff to demonize and beat down, that's when you have a problem.
I don't believe that
Why
anybody
can't they-
demonizes Lamar Jackson.
But if you're using stats and different stats to lie on the man and saying that he's garbage, you are.
Nobody
Because
says
now
he's garbage either. Because
all
like
right.
nobody, it's not an argument
Dino,
about Lamar
Dino,
Jackson
Dino,
being
Dino,
garbage
Dino,
because
you gotta-
nobody's
let
saying
me-
he's a.
Let me carry out my train of thought. Take some notes like I'm doing, and then you could jump on it.
You got it.
You know, that's what I do the same for you. So why is it not okay for a black quarterback to stay in the league like Andy Dalton? He's got to be the best. He's got to be the best, or else he don't be. The issue is if he don't belong there, he's not the best, so he don't belong there. That's what it comes back down to. And hold on, man. 30 more seconds.
Let him get it off. Let him get it off. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And this is not just sports. This is how black males are treated in society, from grade school to jobs. You got to be the best of everything to be in the same room. We cannot amplify that with these athletes by lying and using the same stats. Like I had one guy use the same argument to demonize Justin Fields and the same argument to prop up Andy Dalton. It's like, I'm losing my mind. We got to stop that because it is harmful, not just to those athletes. Those athletes are a Trojan horse. And we're blocking the blessings of even some of our kids that might be coming up. We're saying they don't belong if they're not the greatest.
I disagree. I disagree with like pretty much all of that. You know, you talk about like how Andy Dalton can just hang around in the league. Teddy Bridgewater keeps getting job after job, and he doesn't prove himself ever. That's a black guy who has not succeeded. That's why he's on several teams. He's got starting jobs. There are several quarterbacks who lasted in the league for years. Black quarterbacks that lasted in the league for you, like Tavares Jackson was a backup in Seattle forever, never playing, never playing.
Geno Smith.
There are black quarterbacks that get their chance to last in the league, just like Andy Dalton, or it's guys on both sides of that where they just get to last in the league. They're good enough to stay on a 53. Yeah, it is very difficult to make it to the league. It is very difficult to stay in the league. It's very difficult to make it to a point in the league where somebody remembers your name and gets your jersey. I get all of that. And the thing is, when we talking about all these athletes, we're not comparing them to the people who just making the teams. That's never the case. The word for the Lamar Jackson that gets thrown around all the time that several people agree with, several people disagree with is elite. Now, you're not talking about Teddy Bridgewater. You're not talking about Taysom Hill. You're not talking about anybody who was, I don't know, like all the people 20 whoever you rank 20 through 32 in the league. We're not talking about them anymore. We're talking about the top of the league. The
Which is like
argument
four
and people, yeah, elite, top 5. Like
it's like 4 of those
you're
guys.
the best of the best. That's the argument that happens in that every day. And to say something, to disagree and say that you don't feel that somebody is elite, you cannot explain to me the racism in it. To argue that they're not elite, even with all the stats, with everything you want to pull up. Like if you watch a game, they're not doing the same thing that elite. He's not doing the same thing that an elite quarterback does week in and week out. He's not.
Vino, you had a question. Hold on real quick, Dave. Vino, you had a question from the chat. It said, do you feel a black quarterback has a shorter leash than a white one?
Given the situation, I think that works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean work both ways?
Given a team situation, like a coach, good coaches find a way. Like good coaches use what they have, right? They're going to use they adjust what they're doing to the personnel that they have. So if they don't have a certain situation, a black guy could get a nod over a white guy. Or if they don't have the lineman, and they need somebody to extend the play, the black guy would get the nod. He would get the nod for the job. Or if you want a solid pocket passer, now the white guy might get the nod for a job. It's about the situation they're in.
Dave, obviously you got something you want to say about that.
You know, to your point, you're right about some of the guys that have stayed in the league, black guys who hang around and make it on the 53-man roster. But if you go back to their careers when they're coming into the league, were they given a fair chance of being developed into a career quarterback, into a franchise quarterback versus another person? Did they have more talent? Can you easily look me in the eye and tell me that Geno Smith, from a talent standpoint, is equally as talented as Andy Dalton? No, he's more talented. So when you're talking about the person that coach chooses to sit in the room with and build their career around, in a way, we know they have a shorter leash. We've seen people with more talents that's just not given a chance to develop. The same thing happens on all level of life. In sales, in corporate, you have a black person who's more talented and they're on a shorter leash. They're not given a chance to develop and grow into their potential. And that is what's happening to a lot of quarterbacks. Now, I'm not saying all, because when you look at RG3, look at RG3's stats. Look at RG3 stats when he came out.
Yeah, he was Lamar Jackson.
You think they wanted him there in Washington? I can't wait to read his book and his side of the story on that.
Whoa.
Did they want RG3, the person who
I don't
guy
know
who
I'm positive Washington wanted Rodgers.
The rookie of the year?
Listen, somebody wanted him, but somebody didn't want him.
All right.
So when his book
absolutely.
I absolutely feel Andy Dalton is better than Geno.
Yeah,
I feel when you say when you talk about RG3, right, and you say that
like Andy Dalton.
when you talk about RG3 and you say that you guarantee somebody didn't want him, I think that's general, right? Because I feel like you can say that about a lot of players, black or white, right? So let's take Mitch, right? Let's take Mitch for instance, right? The Bears got slandered forever from executives, from teams, from peers, from fans about taking him over Deshaun Watson, who happens to be black.
You know what I mean? And they should. We all see how
like he happens to be black. But the point is saying that I think you can say that for any player. I see somebody in the chat say that Shanahan didn't want RG3. He originally wanted Cousins.
Yeah, I remember that bout.
I know they had big time debates about that until RG3 got in the league and just blew it away before he got hurt. Then it was like a no-brainer who it was. But even then, and this can go back to you, Dave, because this can go back to you in the question that said a shorter leash. Even then, though, you still had fans and television shows, sports shows, radio personalities championing for Kirk Cousins. So I want to say that's one of those things where, you know, you can't, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, more than one thing can be true. Definitely more than one thing can be true. I do think, I don't think there was a situation though where Washington didn't want RG3 though. I think that might be a reach. I think that might be a reach.
I'm not saying Washington. My position is, I think somebody did not want him, and somebody here is saying
in Washington or just in general. In Washington or in general.
No, I said somebody. I didn't say who.
Okay.
Somebody. But I'll be willing. I'll be willing to bet every war room, every draft, like there's a debate on whether they should. When they're picking a quarterback in the first round, I'm sure everybody in the room never agrees. I'm positive. That's why they call them. They're war rooms.
It's okay, but when you're there, when you are drafted, you're supposed to take that player and develop him. And if that coach Shanahan, which it was clear that there was something there, didn't want him, he's not going to put everything into him. He'll rather quit. Some people just flat out hate the fact that they're going to be working.
He was rookie of the year, though.
Right, but he got injured. Shouldn't he give him a chance?
He got injured later, way later.
He got injured later. He got injured.
So do you think he had a fair chance later?
Who, RG3?
Yeah.
Yes. He got hurt and he never was the same player after he was hurt.
After. You think he had
after the injury?
Yes.
All right.
I do.
Yes. Hey, just like I feel Andy Dalton is a much better quarterback than Geno Smith.
I could concede to that. I'm not going to say, hey, I know everything. I'm saying cool.
Yeah.
That's my I see it one way. You see it one way. Cool. You know?
Mm-hmm. I want to hit on these comments real quick. Because they really going at it with the Mitch over the Deshaun thing. They say, but the fact that Mitch bum ass can go over Deshaun does mean something. He can come and be mediocre for years and stay in the league. A black quarterback can't do that and stay in the league. I think that's a reach because, again, and here's another thing about the Mitch thing. And I know this is sensitive for a lot of Chicago people. They don't want to hear this because we based in Chicago, but it's just the truth. If you go back and you look at those scouting reports, I don't give a fuck who wrote them. I'm just going back what we know. A lot of teams, you know what I mean, was banking on Mitch's upside over what Deshaun Watson had already accomplished. I don't think that's a racism thing. I just think that's scouts who got it wrong.
No, bro.
I don't think that's a racism thing. And I'm going to tell you why it's not a racism thing.
They flat out did not want a black quarterback in Chicago. They had
why we got one now? So why now do we have one?
Huh?
How can we say
it's the same management? Why do we have them now?
Hold on. Wait a minute. Over time, things can't change. Hold on. Things can't change over time. People can't change over time.
Hey, yo, in 2002, we had the Flash.
No. I'm saying people can't change over time. A racist person can just flat out be like, you know what? This is bullshit. I need to do something that's going to make me money. They can change their mind. They can improve on their thought process. But it was clear. Anybody in here can knows that Chicago did not want a black quarterback. And not only that, they did not want a black coach. They have not been the same since they fired Lovie Smith, who was 10-6. And look at Nagy hanging around, can't coach shit. And he's sitting there on.
He's not hanging around. He's there on his way out, and he's been there a couple of years.
He's been there too long. That's hanging around.
What are you talking? Lovie Smith had a long career with the Bears.
Right, and they fired him at 10-6. And this man,
he kept losing.
As Nagy had a 10-6 season.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like it don't even.
That's what I'm saying. You fire a black man 10-6, and you keep him.
That's crazy that you make that a racial thing.
I don't think that's a racial thing, though.
He kept losing. They were tired of Lovie Smith. The fans didn't like Lovie Smith no more.
Okay, all right, okay.
Everything in Chicago get ran by the fans.
So the fans like Nagy?
And now he's on his way out.
When did the fans start hating Nagy? The fans have never liked Nagy because he's never performed.
Not true. That's not true. That's not true.
His best year. What's Nagy's best year?
His first year.
What was his record?
That might have been 10-6.
I think it was more than 10.
It might have been 11-5. Malcolm, can you check that?
Somebody can.
Yeah, I think it was more than 10.
We got fact check Malcolm in the building. I think
when we missed the field goal a lot when we bonked the field goal.
I remember
I
them
think,
having one decent year.
I think that was
I don't
11.
know what that is.
But to
All right, man.
pivot us back on the bag that we were in with the criticism of black athletes, because I knew that criticism, like the criticism of the black people, was still going to lead to like a dialogue of racism, because to a lot of people, criticism and racism is one of the same. Me personally, I like to try to look at things and try to keep it where it is. I don't always look at things from a racist lens. You know, you can take that however you want. People can take that however they want. I like to look at things on surface level and then kind of niche it down from there. So I want to go back to the criticism of black athletes and if it's just. So I have a couple examples in my mind. I meant to load them up, but I wasn't able to load them up because I was running late. So please forgive me. When I first started the pit, one of the first things that happened was the Sha'Carri Richardson joint. Before I get to that, the Bears were 12-4. The Bears were 12-4. Thank you, Malcolm. But Sha'Carri Richardson, right? An incident where, you know, I can say kind of that incident was like really why I was like, yo, I'm going to start this Facebook group, the Players Pit. Dave, when we first started it, you were one of the founding members in there that was very, very vocal about the Sha'Carri Richardson joint when everything happened with her testing positive and all of that stuff. Is that, to you, in your opinion, knowing everything that you know now, was the criticism of her, was it just, or do you feel like it was too much?
I could speak for me personally.
Okay.
I said the drug thing was a no-no, flat out no-no for anybody across the board, white, black, anybody. Failing the drug test is what it is. It's objective. It's not subjective at all. That's what it is. I'm down with that. I'm not about weed. I might be biased in my thought process on weed because I've never smoked, don't care for it, whatever. And some people might sit back and say, hey, you know, it's just weed. No, it's not, because it can be used to mask various different agents, performing agents. I mean, what am I talking about? It can be used, PEDs. It can be used to mask PEDs. Now, outside of that, you know, even as itself, as a calming agent, that in itself could be a performance agent for her if she has any kind of anxiety that's outside of scope. Now, we could say legalize it. Fine. You could champion legalizing it. That's fine. If you do that and it's approved, fine. Hey, I'm all for it. Whatever, new science, whatever, cool. But it's a ban based on drugs, and that's that. It's anybody else, same thing. John Phelps, same thing. I don't care. That's my position on that. On top of that, though, you know, when you dig into some of the stuff that she was saying and her unsportsmanlike conduct to some of the other athletes, I was not cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I was not cool with that, especially after she was banned and talking about you missed me yet, kind of going at Gabby negatively and stuff like that. No, I'm not about that. If you have a suspension, the most you can do is go ahead and support it. Me personally, I never criticize her as a person. I never talk about negatively a person. I talk about the drug and her attitude. Boom, done. And you know, in reality, I don't think she's that fast as the Jamaicans anyway. So she's just not that fast. And that is a numbers thing. That is a numbers thing based on the fact that she ran from 10-6 to 11. So I could say that she hasn't been fast. I'm not making that up. Okay.
Vino, this one is for you. We talk about the criticism of black athletes. I know you do some hooping, but I'm gonna keep it in the football realm. I'm gonna keep it in the football realm, and this is kind of a volleyball. It's kind of a volleyball. Justin Fields, is this criticism just or not?
Is this criticism just? Overall, I would say no. No, I would say no. I try to look at, when I look at athletes individually, I try to, like when I'm comparing athletes rather, I try to put them in there. I try to recognize their entire situation.
Yeah.
And then, you know, apply my opinions to it. Like I try as best as I can to, you know, just just understand their entire situation. Justin Fields is not in a good one, so I can't really expect him to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like that, I've had that same, but we've had talks. I've had that same outlook on Mitch and Jay Cutler. Like the Bears aren't good, so and the fans of the Bears want the quarterback to change everything because the world lies and said that quarterbacks change everything, and that's not how it goes. It's just not. Like when the quarter was some shit. Football is the ultimate team sport. When one shit is bad, it should hit the fan. It's just what it is. Especially important pieces like your line or your receivers. You know what I mean? Like if they're below par, nobody will be good on the Bears. I think that's becoming more true as week to week, as you can see, watching all the good guys, go through their struggles. But you know what? Nobody will be good on the Bears. The Bears will be this if Jesus himself was the quarterback.
I believe the same thing, but I'm biased in that regard. Dave, it looks like you chopping at the bits. Go for it.
Yeah. Why can't you use the same words that you just used to apply that to Lamar Jackson? One,
Lamar Jackson's not in the same situation
hold on.
as Justin Fields.
Hold on. It's not as bad. But however, when you look at how Lamar Jackson is performing compared to what he has, rank his receiver core in the league. Some of them are inches. What does he have to work with right now? His number one receiver is a tight end. That's not the best tight end in the league.
He's very, very, very good.
Oh, he's good, but it's one. Where would you rank the rest of his core? Where would you rank them? 1, 2. Would you take any of those? If you're building a team right now, would you draft any of those receivers as 1, 2?
Hollywood.
1 or 2? No, definitely not.
They're serviceable.
Not as a one, but
they're serviceable receivers. They're good pro, but they're you all keep chopping off and talking about elites. Does he have elite wide receiver, elite running back?
No.
Okay.
They have an elite run game.
Right. Like he's the running back.
No.
Yeah,
so he's never had
a running back.
Okay, he's never had a running back.
Oh no, he's had him. He doesn't have it now.
But does he have one now? No, he doesn't.
Freeman's past his prime.
You can use the bias argument and say he's the running back. The fact of the matter is he has additional.
He has more carries than the running back.
He has additional talent above and beyond the average quarterback, and he's performing at a high level with what we might call not elite receivers. Okay, but not only that, he's 8-3, been in the playoff 4 years in a row.
That's not accomplishment for an elite quarterback.
Whoa, wait, whoa. You gotta remember. Tell me about Aaron Rodgers been in the league now and going to the playoffs.
He has a positive, he has a winning record in the playoffs.
One Super Bowl.
That doesn't matter. I'm not talking about Super Bowls. I said playoff victories, your performance in playoff victories.
Y'all intellectual savages, man, because you got to use the same argument to talk about the same person. That's when it comes discriminatory.
So again, you cut me off though. Like elite. Don't listen. So it's just as simple, and I guarantee you the arguments will change if you stop using the word elite, because when you say it's not the same. The elite guys I think of have positive. They have playoff records that are positive. Now, is it early in his career? For sure. Can he get that? For sure. But he hasn't yet. And the reason he hasn't yet is because of the stuff that we be talking about. His passing game has caused them to not.
Let me ask you a question. His passing completion percentage is about 64% right now. Brady's about.
Is that on the season or for a career?
Hold on. And Brady is about 66%.
Yep.
Much better. What we know is much better talent. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
If he had a better core, what do you think the upside is on his completion percentage?
66%.
Just like Tom Brady.
Sure. Now the problem the difference is he's gonna pause. He got that percentage stays that high because he passes the ball that much less than Tom Brady.
It doesn't matter. It's win.
Why wouldn't that matter if you're doing things less? Why wouldn't that matter?
The percentage is the percentage, bro.
No, it was said earlier.
Saying you're saying if he passes more, he might have a chance of more incompletion. That's not how percentages and averages work, man.
That's exactly what would happen, though. That's why people. What do you mean, like? If throughout a game, like if you that's what happens.
Hold on, Dave.
That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. The more times you pass a game, the greater your chances of having a higher percentage. If you just pass 15 times a game, your chances of having a higher completion percentage is higher. If you throw 40 times a game. That's why the game plan is to not have him throw so much.
Hold on. So you say you take more free throws, your chances of having a lower average is just more? What the?
If you take more free, that's exactly what
the probability of you missing more though.
By you taking more shots.
That's not how percentages work, man.
Well, there you have it. I don't know what else to say. The more shots you take, the greater probability of you having a lower percentage, man. I don't understand. That's not how it works. Okay.
Wait, hold on. You guys had a question. We're gonna start with Vino, then we're gonna go to you, Dave. They asked both of y'all name who you think is elite. Now, I'm assuming that neither one of you have more than 5 elite quarterbacks. I'm assuming. So if you do, we're gonna limit it at 5. We're gonna limit it at 5. Vino, you go ahead, go for it.
Off the top of my head, Aaron, Russ, and Pat are the elite quarterbacks, and Tom are the elite quarterbacks in the league now. All
right, go with it, Dave.
Man, when I look at it, man, I will say for sure Tom Brady. He's on a level by himself, to be honest with you. I think Russ is elite. I think me personally, I think Dak is elite. I think Mahomes is elite. And man, that's it.
Now, I want to piggy off that. So, out of Vino named 4, and you named
I think about
5.
4 or 5.
I think you named about 4 or 5. But
and Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is elite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But out of those 8 guys, and of course, because everybody knows the elites should be on damn near everybody's list. But out of those 8 players that you named, some of them were named twice. You named more than half of your spots were taken by black guys. More than half of your spots were taken by black guys, by black quarterbacks, right? And I think that if you asked any expert in football or any NFL analyst, scout or whatever, I think they'll name these same guys. With that being said, I want to know, how do we still believe in this idea that racism or black quarterbacks are still being over criticized, knowing what we know now, seeing the quarterbacks that you name, knowing that if you ask most analysts, most scouts, they'll name these same guys and most of them are black. How do we say that the black quarterback, the black athlete, is being over criticized by media in general? Because me personally, again, you can tell me when I'm wrong. Me personally, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. There was a lot of analysts out there before Dak really hurt himself. They were ready to give him MVP. Kyler Murray this season, they were getting ready to give him MVP. We know Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. Russell Wilson a few years ago. Shit, might have been 2 years ago. Honestly, they were ready to give him MVP. These are all black guys. These are all black guys. So my point is saying this: you don't think that in today's landscape of and I'm just going to keep it NFL right now. Hell no, fuck it, I'm gonna make it broad. You don't think that in today's landscape of the African American athlete, that saying that they're being over criticized isn't a form of being sensitive today? Because I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And most black athletes that do get over criticized, let's be honest, it be on some off the field or off the court shit, and they be doing some dumb shit.
But at the same
Like
time, that's the
they be
problem.
doing some dumb shit.
That's the problem.
What's the problem?
Okay, all right, real quick. Let me revamp my list on elite. Can I? I do want to add real quick. I do want to add Kyler Murray. I do want to add Kyler Murray, and I do want to add Lamar Jackson. See, when I think of
funny you said that because somebody just said
Bino, you just got into golf, right? You just got into golf. Let me just use this analogy real quick. There's many different ways of getting the ball in the hole. You can have an elite swing. You can have not an elite swing. Get the ball in the hole in the least amount of time. The objective, you see, the game is changing right now. And if you continue to think of an elite quarterback as just somebody who is a pocket passer, you're missing the game. You're missing what elite is. Elite is to be able to lead your team, keep your team together, and win, and possibly win a Super Bowl. Because I don't know what kind of passer Russ was when he won the Super Bowl. I don't remember him being an amazing passer. I remember him being really good, very athletic, have a savage defense, and a really nice offense. And that's how he won that Super Bowl. I don't remember him slinging that thing with his arm all day, like being like more of a Tom Brady. He won that thing differently. So when we're talking about elite, we could say an elite athlete. Well, maybe the paradigm is shifting from what the traditional quarterback is like, because the legs, the legs and being able to win game and being able to extend that play is an asset in the league right now, especially with how the rules have changed and the defense cannot like lay out these athletes anymore. It's an asset.
And the rise of the edge rusher too. The rise of the edge rusher.
It's an asset.
I fully agree with you. My point with that is, while things are changing in football, some things stay the same.
Like what?
The only way to win is you cannot go into a game one-dimensional. You can't. Like you cannot. You have to have balance to win a football game.
And what's one dimension? Sorry, go ahead.
You have to have balance in a football game. You have to be. You cannot be one-dimensional. If a team is able to make you one-dimensional, chances are they will win. For instance, Aaron Rodgers lost last year when Aaron Jones went down, and they didn't have a running game anymore. He lost the game. Lamar Jackson loses when they stop the running game. When they stop the running game and force him to pass, he's lost. That's the game plan of every NFL coach. That's the game plan.
So Rodgers only lose when somebody goes down, and when so they've never changed a quarterback and make them one-dimensional in any way, shape, or form. Take away
winning teams. Winning team had balance.
Take away a player or two and then dissect him, make him one-dimensional. You can't make that to a passer. You can't do that to a pocket passer.
But a good pocket passer.
If you take away the run game from a pocket passer. Hold on.
Check it out.
If you take away the run game, if you can shut the run game down, you can make a quarterback one-dimensional and force him to throw. And if you force him to throw all day, you can beat that quarterback, because now the quarterback is not one-dimensional, but the team is. So now,
unless you're that level of quarterback.
Hold on, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, unless you're a different level of quarterback.
Unless you like that at quarterback.
This is what you said. You said that you make a team one-dimensional, you have a chance to beat them. Now tell me, why is not a quarterback that have a dual threat an asset? Because over the last couple of years, the Super Bowl winners have been Patrick Mahomes, who can run really good, and then Russ, who can run and pass. Fuck, who the hell won in between? Tom Brady, just like
Tom Brady.
Most of them after that, right? So outside of Tom Brady, the only other two quarterbacks are running quarterbacks and can run.
They're not running quarterbacks. That's the difference. They're not running quarterbacks.
Run and pass. Run and pass.
No. They're not running quarterbacks.
And you're gonna tell me one day?
No. They're not running quarterbacks. Pat Mahomes is not a running quarterback, and neither is Russ. They're not running quarterbacks.
No. I misspoke. I said dual threat. Let me clarify. Dual threat. They're not
dual threat.
Oh, okay.
The ability to extend the play because of their feet does not make them. They're extending the play to pass the ball.
And
how many run attempts do you think they have a game?
They have different receiver sets. People who can do different things. Tyreek Hill can see Patrick Mahomes. Tyreek Hill can be on the left side of the field, see Patrick Mahomes running to the right side of the field. He's so damn fast, he can get over there and give him an opportunity to throw the damn ball to him. People can get open. When people can get open, they can do more. They can extend the play.
Hollywood Brown has that exact same skill set. Hollywood Brown has that exact same. What you said, if it's that simple, Hollywood Brown has that exact same skill set.
It's never that simple in the NFL because you have defense.
Why is okay?
But you
okay? So hear me out. To your layout of how this works, since Pat Mahomes is able to roll right. And Tyreek Hill is able to see him rolling right.
Whoever can improvise. The better receivers can improvise and work with the quarterback. And you don't tell me that's not true.
Fine. So why does two receivers who have the exact same skill set with the quarterback they're the same? Why aren't they doing the same things?
So you're saying that Lamar
Hollywood Brown is a step slower than Tyreek Hill.
A step? Okay.
At best.
Hollywood Brown fast as hell.
At best. At best, he's a step.
Okay.
These are 4-3 guys. We're not gonna argue over the 100th of a second in a 100th.
Right. So
they both 4-3 guys.
Is it just speed when you're talking about improvise? Is it just speed?
Tyreek, when you bring up Tyreek Hill, it is.
No. Improvise is more than just speed, Vino.
Okay, I assume
where to be and knowing what
I assumed why you said the Tyreek Hill's because he take off down the field.
That's one example. There's other people. There's other ways of improvising. I just use that. No?
Sure.
As a receiver, there's no. Your quarterback is somebody you don't improvise on your routes and move around and get open.
100%. Personally, I believe that the makeups of the team is exactly the same. They have a fast guy to go deep, and they have a big ass tight end who maneuvers in the middle of the field. So it could work the same. It just don't because of passing ability of the quarterback. I think that's the difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they have a top three. I think they have a top 3 tight end and a real fast guy to stretch the defense. And they could do things different, but they don't do that because they don't want that kid passing 40 times a game.
I wouldn't either when you have the ability to run.
Fair. Okay. Cool. And then the Tennessee Titans make you pass, and then you keep running, and you lose.
So fine. 31 other teams gonna lose.
Oh, I ain't talking about the Super Bowl. I'm just talking about winning your games to get to the Super Bowl.
So
because I don't have the same argument. If you lose it, huh?
You're still gonna have 30 teams that's gonna lose one way or the other.
So okay. Again, so we talk about it. Are we talking about
Lamar the worst?
Again, we talk about the 30 teams, or we talk about elite?
Why is Lamar the worst of all the losing teams? That's what y'all saying.
Who said he the worst?
Come on.
Nobody ever said he's the worst. And that's where you live. That's the space you live in. Like nobody ever said that.
You all got that man on a leash, and maybe you, Vino. I'm not gonna say you did. I've never seen you use the word garbage and trash referring to him. I will look it up and see. But there are a lot of people that use that word. My issue is not about the talk of you see, this is morphing into elite versus not elite. Fine, get up off that man. You see what I'm saying? What I'm saying is all the other negative words, garbage, trash, and various different things that are used to describe that man and his game.
I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody, at least in the pit.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I haven't, but then again, it's not like I've seen everything.
I've seen it weak being used to describe people like Draymond and various different things like that. That's my beef. My beef is not about my main beef. But again, when you're waking up every day, that's when you go into the discriminatory stuff, especially when the man is performing. He's winning games. Period.
Okay.
He's
He
winning
wasn't
games.
winning games, but when he wasn't winning games and he was playing weak, it was okay then. Like I'm saying, like when people, I saw people betting on you to get 4 points in the game and you get 2, like that's weak because you don't have Steph, and
So
you know what I'm saying. Like that's naturally the people gonna call you weak now.
My problem is this: he can't have a bad day. He can't have a bad game. He can't have a bad stretch.
Vito said no.
That's a short leash. That's a short leash. This is something I'm saying. This is a short leash you guys have black quarterbacks on because he's winning more than half the quarterbacks in the league right now.
So,
elite. Well, hey, listen, man. Tom Brady don't care about where he land in the playoffs. He know he going to the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, like they ain't worrying about the regular season. That's Peyton Manning type stuff. Like Tom Brady, like the end. He like January football. He don't care about September.
And let me
January football.
ask you this. So Tom Brady pretty much have won all the Super Bowls. The defense never played a role. He never had an elite team.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Of course they did.
Okay. All right. See, elite in football don't come with just one person. You should know that. It don't just come
but your gameplay do.
What?
Your gameplay does though. Like I saw Tom Brady losing the Super Bowl and put up 500 yards.
And I seen him win with a play by Malcolm, with a stupid play by who was that team?
That was the Seahawks.
Russ's team, the Seahawks.
Yeah, 100% because football is 100. It's the ultimate team game.
Tom Brady is elite, so I don't even think we should really even talk Tom Brady right now. He's proven. But the issue, and it could, that I'm having is not being able to use the same ideas, the same opinions to judge Lamar with that you do a Kirk Cousins and everybody else. You guys don't.
And you think that's only applied to black athletes?
Black quarterbacks.
Well, all right. So we niching down and just saying quarterbacks.
Hold on.
So we niching down and just.
Give me a second.
Yeah. So we niching down and just saying quarterbacks. But while he's awake, it was somebody who said something I want to hop on. Guys, listen. For me to see your comments, Dave, we're gonna get back to you. For me to see your comments, you have to make sure that you not log into, but just click that link that's in the top of every time I post a stream. All I gotta do is click that link, and I'm gonna be able to see you, man. Because right now I don't know who this is. But it says, "These son, the racism comes into action. Yes, they are black athletes that are MVPs, but just like Lamar, as soon as they make a bad play, everybody jumps down their throat. Yeah, Josh Allen been mid for a few weeks and nobody utters a word, or even the fact that Rodgers lied about the COVID status and nothing happened, but AP got a 3-game suspension. Therein lies the racism." I'm going to work backwards on this. First off, Aaron Rodgers and AB, they're not the same thing. They're not. The Aaron Rodgers shit, and I talked about this ad nauseum in the group on somebody's thread. The Aaron Rodgers shit, that was the media just taking whatever they wanted to. The AB shit, Buddy flat out was giving out fake cards. Come on, bro. That's what I was talking about, Dave, earlier when I said sometimes we just do dumb shit. and that's one of them. Going backwards, but just like Lamar, as soon as they make a bad play, everybody jumps down their throat. Yeah, Josh Allen's been mid for a few weeks, and now nobody's utters a word. Listen, that's not racism to me. I'm sorry, it's not. How many of you motherfuckers really watch Buffalo Bills games, bro? So it's impossible for you to be overly critical of a game, of a player or a game that you really don't see. The Lamar thing, I think, is just highlighted right now simply because he's a hot button topic, period. He's polarizing, and especially in our group in the Players Pit, he's a hot button topic. I don't think nobody is walking around saying like, "Hey, wait till Lamar Jackson fucks up so I can tell people I told you so." I don't think people do that.
They do.
I don't think people do that.
They do.
You know what I mean?
They do the fields also.
I don't think people do that. That's me. Them. You know what I mean? I do think that when people are criticizing said players, I think it's less about them saying like, how can I put this? I think it's less about the racism of said player, especially if it's coming from somebody black. I think it's less about the racism of said player and more so about, listen, I told you so because I want to be right and you wrong. I don't think that's anything deeper than that. Now, if we're talking about the media being quick to criticize Josh Allen or things of the nature, cool. You know what I mean? Like cool. That's different. That's a different ball game. That's a different lane. You know what I mean? That's a different end of the spectrum. But when we're talking about like just within the pit, that's 96% black. You know what I mean? I don't see racism in those type of comments. I just don't, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Right.
Hold on. 100% people do that. Absolutely. I see that man said Cousins. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like the AB shit and if you guys want to chime in on this before we get up out of here, because we actually 13 minutes over our limit, but it's been so dope. I don't even care. If y'all want to chime in on the difference between the suspensions that the NFL handed down to AB and various other players and A-Rod not getting any, because A-Rod didn't get any games, right? He just missed the game because he was like he missed the game because he was on the COVID list, right?
Something like that.
If I'm not mistaken, can anybody?
I want to give it just maybe 10 seconds. The difference is when racism come in is Aaron Rodgers. You talking about
on this comment right here, Dave, so I can make sure I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, go for it.
Aaron Rodgers did misrepresent his status, which is essentially a lie, and did participate in activities that were against NFL policies. Okay, he did do that. Is it different than AB? Yes, but the difference is AB got 3 games and the other guys got 3 games, and he got nothing. Remember now, COVID is supposed to be serious, and he went against protocol and lied to participate in those protocols. That's a suspension.
Malco, like, can anybody? Does anybody know the names of those players that got suspended for the COVID? Does anybody know besides AB? Because if anybody on that list is white, I'm not trying to hear it. Like if anybody on that list is white, I'm not trying to hear it.
You see, you guys are taking this stuff to flat out racism, and what I'm saying is, it's not just as simple as racism. It's damaging the brand and above and beyond that. Quick.
I'd rather keep it there then.
What?
Opposed to just saying race. Hold on, Dave, because I want to make sure I get my rocks off on this one.
Sorry.
I want to keep it there then, right? Okay. I want it to be about the criticism of the athlete, the damaging of the brand, and just eliminate the racism aspect of it completely. Because when you say racism, now we're having a different conversation.
But it can be both.
It can be both.
And it is both.
It can be both, but a lot of times they're not rooted in the same thing. That's what I'm saying. No, a lot of times they're not rooted in the same thing. I don't want to have to walk on eggshells, right? And I'm never going to do it, but I'm just saying this in general. I don't ever want to have to walk on eggshells believing that my criticism of my African-American brother or sister in his or his or her profession is going to be looked at as me being overtly critical or me being an Uncle Tom, because that's the line that we're starting to teeter when we talk about these things, right? Because you have people who think that because somebody is black, because this athlete is black, because this quarterback is black, because this person is black, that you automatically have to take their sides and or support them in said matter, and you don't. You know what I mean? And you don't. And I think that's where you have guys like a Dedrick, guys like myself, guys like Vino, or a lot of other guys who say, okay, look, bro, now y'all going too far with this. You know what I mean? Like, now y'all going too far with this. All because I think Draymond Green is ass because I seen him miss a layup, a bunny, point blank range. It don't make me any less supportive of another black athlete. I just simply think that Draymond Green is trash. That's an isolated incident. Draymond trash. You know what I mean? That's an isolated incident. It doesn't mean that I don't support black athletes in general. And I think, not just saying you, Dave, and not saying you, I'm talking in general because I've seen it, right? I'm talking in general. I've seen people say, well, they might not say that, but it's insinuated that you should support said player because they're black. And I think that's bullshit.
I don't think it is, because the issue is, again, it's above sports. Sports and these athletes is not.
It's what Dave? I'm sorry,
it's above sports. It's not about making buckets and missing bucket.
Okay.
It's the socio-political aspect of it that you guys are missing. It's the trickle-down effect that you guys are missing. We treat those athletes different. We treat them harsher. We treat the black kids, that black boy in the school harsher. We treat the black man in the street harsher. It's a treatment. It's a continuous treatment. And what I'm saying is, while we're doing it on a stage like Facebook and doing it, in a way, you kind of okaying the mistreatment. I'm not saying for you to go and support. There's a difference in supporting and mistreating and damaging. There's a difference. You know, my mama always said, you ain't got nothing good to say, sometimes you ain't say it. But you can talk about, I'm saying sports conversations are different. You can have sports conversation. When you started using the derogatory language like trash, garbage, weak to describe somebody that's at the pinnacle of their career, what does that say about the people that are mediocre? Most of us out here are freaking mediocre. We're not at the pinnacle of nothing. You see what I'm saying? We're just scrambling, trying to make ends meet to feed our family. What does that say about our Trojan horse? It's above and beyond just, and if it's constantly treating the black athletes different and not doing the same when it comes to white athletes that mess up, that's the problem. That's the discriminatory. That's the racism part. It's not for you to just jump out and support all black athletes. But
what do you say? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Really quick. You said something like you don't want to walk around on eggshells when you're criticizing something. Now, imagine things change. We grow and we learn. Imagine if a white guy say that when they're talking about a black person. I don't want to walk on eggshells. I'll just say what I want to say. Well, words do matter. Words on Facebook matter. They are harvested and they're used for commercial. They're used to come back and drill down and shape where we are. So while we grow and while we learn about these tools, we do need to act like that. We're men that have children, have boys that we're trying to grow up. If we keep saying these things, imagine we're okay this out there because people are reading this. It's coming back down to us in some way, shape, or form through the media. All these words, Stephen A. used them. Now, if you were in a stand and your little boy is playing the game and somebody said that kid is garbage, you're going to shit your pants. Now, Lamar Jackson got a father who's hearing this shit. It's above and beyond. What I'm saying is, you think this shit stays in the pit? It does not.
Isn't that part of the game, though? Isn't that part of the game? Isn't that a part of being an athlete? A part of being an athlete is that criticism, though.
Should it be?
This shit's been going on before now, though.
But should it be unfair criticism? It has been going on before now. It has been going on before now. It has been going on before now, and that don't mean it's right. Because again, how they criticize black athletes, shut up, play, they're dumb. All these derogatory stuff. We're not far removed from that. So when we add to that fuel, what are we saying? Our elites can't, he might not be an elite quarterback, but he is an elite athlete in an elite environment as face of $1 billion corporation. That's elite.
Absolutely.
So how do we talk about someone that's elite, that's a Trojan horse, that's opening the door for us? See, this don't stay right there. It don't stay in sports. A lot of the same people do the same thing to Obama. They use the same language to address women, female, and all sorts of stuff. I watch a lot of these people. I see this shit over and over. It's how we talk about each other and what we do, and we don't apply the same thing, the same words to other people. We just don't. That's the problem I have with this. And when you put it on this platform, it is different.
Okay. Vino, you got something to say before we close it out? Good shit, Mark. Good shit, Dave. Oh, damn, Vino, we can't hear you again. We can't hear you again.
See, I got age on you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm saying, a lot of the stuff that you guys are saying now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've never said those. I've never done that. I'm not saying I've never criticized anybody unfairly or engaged in nasty rhetoric on Facebook. What I'm saying is somebody has pulled me aside many a times and be like, yo, B, you can't do this. Older,
you call me
maybe
trash.
a lady, maybe a lady. We were having a beef then, you know. And me and Moses, we go at it from time to time. And I'm like, you know what? I really can't do that. You see what I'm saying? And again, many people have pulled me aside and say, hey, young buck, listen, you can't do this. You see what I'm saying? This is wrong. You learn and you move, you pivot, you think about it and roll. Now, for me to say, all right, it's not about being soft. It's about being right or wrong. If I can't share this with my young brothers and get an open ear, you know, or being demonized and being called weird, see, we grow, we learn, because this shit is just bigger than just you and bigger than just the pit. The pit might get big. And it should. We hope it does. You see what I'm saying? And how are we if this get big and on that level? We look like just a bunch of mini Stephen A. Come on, man. That's wrong, bro.
I hear you. Vino, you there? I know you there. Can we hear you this time? He can't hear you. I'm trying to get y'all parting shots before we get up out of here, man. But we get come back in. Hey, while we waiting on Vino.
Law Beats.